Now, this is a bit of a controversial idea from Government Services Minister Bill Shorten. He's announced, a thought bubble perhaps, that Labor is developing a digital ID program. It's known as the Trust Exchange, or TEX for short. Here he was speaking about it yesterday.
TEX is something brand new and world-leading. It is not a wallet, nor an app, nor ID, but rather it is a secure means by which to exchange with a third party who you are, your identity, and what you can do, your credentials.
Andrew, why do Australians need a digital ID?
Well, Australians should have the choice to have a digital ID because it will significantly increase their security online. What we have at the moment is a system where if you want to prove your identity to any service provider, a healthcare provider, a bank, another utility, you are required to provide them with ID documentation, your passport, your licence, and those documents are then stored by those institutions and have been the subject of cyber hacks. And that means that millions of Australians are losing valuable information which can then put them at risk. So what Bill Shorten is talking about is providing people with an option where instead of providing those documents and putting themselves at risk that those documents could fall into the hands of cybercriminals, there'll be an alternative method for them to prove their identity which doesn't expose them to those same risks. I think it's important for Australians to have choice. But this is a choice that many Australians, I think, will find attractive because it will reduce their risk of identity theft and reduce their risk of cybercrime.
Bridget, there are concerns about government holding such sensitive data, given government cybersecurity is not known to be a strong point. Do you think this is a good idea, and would you trust the government rather than the private sector to develop technology like this?
Sharri, I'm a Conservative. I don't trust the government over private citizens at all. But I think governments have shown to have data breaches regularly. I'm a law-abiding firearm owner, and there's been numerous state governments where suddenly everyone that owns a firearm in that state's been released publicly for public disclosure where they live and where the firearm is. I mean, that is a public safety issue, not just a personal integrity issue. So I would have significant concerns. I think the Labor Party, the last they tried something like an Australia card, didn't go down well. So I would be wanting to see a lot more detail from Bill Shorten and the Labor Party before I'm subscribing to a digital version of an Australia card.
Yeah, I think there is.
This is not a digital version of an Australia card.
I just want to see the detail, Andrew.
This is a very, very different thing.
How is it different?
21st century thing.
How is it different?
Well, this is a way for people to avoid precisely the problem that Bridget is talking about. Rather than having to give over your sensitive documents in order to prove your identity when you sign up to a new service, this is an alternative that people can choose to be able to prove their identity without doing that.
And until some bright young spark in a country far away works out how to hack it.
Well, bright young sparks in countries far away are hacking our private sector systems every single day, and we've seen that in Optus, in Medibank, in Medisecure, on and on.
So it doesn't sound like a great idea to me, Andrew.
And what this is doing is making us safer from precisely those things, because instead of Optus having to store your licence and your passport, you won't have to provide those documents to Optus. So Bridget needs to read this legislation, understand what it's doing, and appreciate that what it's doing is actually meaning that you'll have to give over fewer documents, and that will increase your cybersecurity and reduce your risk of
Andrew, I think if she managed to read your thick economics textbook, I think she can get a handle on this legislation, and we can talk about it next Wednesday. Next Wednesday on the show. All right, good to see you both, Bridget McKenzie, Andrew Charlton. Thank you.